Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by, click OK, Eli, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to have you all. Going to do a couple of housekeeping questions. We've got a short clip to cover today, but we haven't got a full-length video. Now, typically on a Thursday, we would actually have something to cover, but we'll cover Brian Cox and his declarations in regards to Coriolis shortly. But we'll ask a few housekeeping questions preemptively before we get to it. So, any evidence of axial rotation? We cheering for Brian Cox?
Yes.
Well, Eli, I'm glad you're that excited. Alrighty then. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
The one thing I've encountered was a gyro compass. They have used that as evidence that by principle, a gyro compass is utilizing the rotation of the Earth. I don't know if you've run into that.
No, by principle, a gyro compass is going to remain rigid in space. If it's deviating, it's faulty.
I think it's talking about the precession. It follows the precession of the Earth. It has like the same Foci principle.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't occur, but if we were to take it as read as they suggest, that we do have a deviation in either a pendulum or a gyroscope, because we are seeing 15 degrees an hour drift of the cage attached to an Earth that's turning underneath, then that would infer that Earth's turning underneath as a non-inertial turning reference frame, and that would have other consequences attached to that claim. Or to put it more simply, if their claim of Coriolis on a globe is true, then Earth is turning underneath, and we would notice. Things would drift at 15 degrees an hour. Now, their assertion comes from the origin of the claim in respect to the stars drifting at 15 degrees an hour by their apparent motion as we watch them. But if you are to assert that Earth turns underneath to induce this Coriolis effect, then Earth's turning underneath. Aeroplanes, hot air balloons, footballs, bullets. And you'd notice. For an example, a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles takes 4 hours or 4.5 hours. If Earth was turning underneath, it would only take an hour and a half because Earth would be turning underneath it. It doesn't. We'd notice there is no Coriolis deflection on an Earth that's claimed to be turning. That's it. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
What's that?
Based on what the guy described to us yesterday, there was a Russian Mike guy that was strawmanning the panel as I arrived with a flat Earth model that he'd created that for the most part, quote, it worked, but he had issues and then went on to, for no apparent reason that I didn't get an explanation for, gravity. And when he defined it as the things that moved towards the ground because of this force, ignoring the clouds that were then pointed out to him 7 times. Now, if you've got a high school or below education, you'll appreciate that gravity, as per your education, was a force of down. If you go beyond high school education in this regard to higher education, you're taught that it's a bent fourth dimensional space-time. So, not exactly the simplest of answer, but I hope that satisfies you.
So, how do we have scientific evidence of something that is a concept?
It's not my claim, and you can't, but they assert it as science. Therefore, the burden is on them to prove they have science. They don't, as you rightly identify, Flat Earth Travolta.
Fair enough.
What you're identifying is a category error within the question. But the category error is only there because of their assertions that they have science, not because we don't understand the category this would sit within. Don't assert that it's science and you won't be asked for scientific evidence. It's that simple. Meanwhile, along those lines, there is no scientific evidence for gravity. There's not even a phenomena to observe. The previous Newtonian claim of things going down is defied by gas behaviour. Just look up at the clouds. Further to that, and presumably because of that fatal flaw within Newtonian gravity, you then change it to a more convoluted version of a bent space-time in a pseudo-Riemannian geometry invented by Einstein, where the bending and warping of time is caused by the uneven distribution of mass, and that is what he calls gravity. Of course, conceptually, it only exists within the pseudo-Riemannian geometry of the fourth dimension that Einstein invented. Therefore, no natural phenomena. Again, not science. Just for the icing on the cake, is there any evidence of any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
There's hearsay and conjecture. Those are kinds of evidence.
No, evidence is proof. So hearsay and conjecture, definitely not evidence.
I was quoting Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons.
You were quoting who?
Lionel Hutz, the lawyer from The Simpsons.
Oh, you were quoting Lionel Hutz. That's priceless. It did just sound like a glober, though, let's be honest.
Yep.
There's a lot of parallels you can draw between Lionel Hutz, the charlatan, shyster, and globe earth believers. So well done, kudos. I'm dragging this out a little bit because I know the clip that we've got is so very short and the audio in it is absolutely horrendous. I think it was recorded from a phone from the Joe Rogan Experience and has no links because it's recorded from a phone, so it's kind of a bit crummy. But like I say, I do want to drag it out in that regard before we get to it. So is there anything else going on before we do get to that clip? Or any other comments in regards to Coriolis effect, gravity, things of that nature? Like I'm not going to... Oh, I'm going to get to drag it out a little bit thanks to... Pressing the wrong button. I'm going to get to drag it out a little bit thanks to a super chat from Flat Earth Travolta. Recommended reading if you want to know how refined mathematics became one world religion. The Metaphysical Foundations of Modern Science by E.A. Burt. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Accidentally started my intro to get it up. I was on the wrong screen trying to bring up this Skype page from Eli. It was you that shared this, right, Eli?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to talk us through what it is then before I play it? That'll kill a bit of time.
Let's see. So yeah, this is Brian Michael Cox. He's on the Joe Rogan show, and he says something really interesting. Well, it's only interesting because it's something that we've all told the Globers, and the Globers just I don't know. They don't accept what their religion entails. So I thought it was a very good clip to give them a warm good morning.
Okay.
Tell them about their faith.
Anything else?
That's all.
You say it was Cox on Joe Rogan, right?
Yes.
So where would I send somebody in the audience to let them know that we've covered this?
Joe Rogan Experience?
Fine. I'd just say it in a very general term, just so it's not like we're not offering kudos and props and credit. So please let Joe Rogan know At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get you to do that because I haven't got a link for this. But there we go. We'll play it anyway. Let's get on with it.
Then you can't tell. So there's no experiment you can do. We could look at the decay of a radioactive nucleus or some electricity and magnetism or bounce a ball, have a
Yeah, these aren't experiments. Maybe that's kind of what he's saying.
pendulum, whatever it is. And there's no experiment you can do to tell you whether you're moving or not. Therefore, that concept has no meaning.
I mean, you can say that, but there is a globe Earth rhetoric in place that there's a Coriolis deflection affirmed by Foucault. And that affirmation is in the form of a claim that we have two separate reference frames and a Coriolis deflection. Measurable. I mean, that would have the same consequences I detailed in the pre-show if Earth is turning underneath to induce the effect of a Coriolis deflection, then Earth's turning underneath. Aeroplanes, bullets, hot air balloons. Flights like Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half instead of the 4 hours or more that they actually take because Earth would be claimed to be turning underneath. Now, we don't have that effect to observe, but that's not for Cox to suggest that because we can't observe the effect. Oh my God. Eli's opened his mic right in the middle of the crescendo. Thanks, Eli.
I don't think we heard it play, that's why.
Okay, there's a few more seconds.
Because you can't measure it.
So he's saying you can't measure Coriolis. Well, that's the claim that you've got to prove Earth's spinning. He's decrying it. So Cox becomes an anti-flat earther.
That's led Einstein to relativity.
Yeah. There you have it. Like I said, it was a very short clip. Thanks, Cox.
Nathan, are you still looking for a vid to review? Is this short?
Yeah, we can do. Hold on, we'll let Eli summarize, though. Go ahead, Eli. Pop
I'm just saying, we only caught the last, 3 seconds of it. You were muted.
Okay.
I don't know if it went out to the audience, but we couldn't hear it.
We heard it fine. You've obviously got some issues. Everyone heard it, right? Anyway, yes, if you've got
Nathan.
If you've got another... Yes, Nathan, we did all hear it. If you've got another video for us to critique, then fine, yeah, just stick it in Master B. Is that mush?
Yeah, okay. It's from a history buffoon. It has 0 views so far, posted 8 hours ago. It's called Myth That's Flat Earth Theory, What People Get Wrong. It's 12 minutes long. I'll post it on Skype right now.
Okay. Covered a few, little tiny YouTubers recently. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The last guy, who probably had only 25 or something subscribers, actually put some fair amount of effort into the editing and production of the video. When it was garbage, in terms of the information itself, sort of high school level assumption that he knows better than everyone else. But, in terms of, actually put editing effort into the material that we were watching at the very least, this looks like it's similar. Okay, so... This person's still got a couple of thousand subs, though, so no reason why it shouldn't have any views. 21 views. Fair enough. Yeah, it's hard to get views. Anyway, right, I'm putting his link. Please let this videographer know, history something, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. The idea being, if he was to make a response, he'd put a link to our video. Large or small, obviously in this instance, we're going to be more beneficial to him than he would be to us. If he were to put a link in his video, if he was to make a response, which we would hope he would do, like I'm doing for my audience now. So please leave a nice comment, don't swear, just let him know that we covered his video with a polite comment that says, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And I mean that now, actually go now. If you're in the live audience, there's 76 people watching, actually click on that link. I'll keep waffling about the same thing for a couple of minutes so that you don't come back and we're already halfway through the response. So please let him know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, with a polite comment that alludes to the fact that we have covered this video, and hopefully, like I say, he would share in the YouTube algorithmic love that we definitely don't receive since Congress told YouTube to censor us. Ergo, we have to rely on people sharing our links, sharing the video. While I'm saying that, actually, please do share the video. It'd be nice to get it to 100 people watching this live stream. Hopefully that has bought enough time for the people of the live audience to toddle along to this videographer to let him know that I sent you. Right, is that enough time? Sometimes it seems like more time than I've actually waffled on saying the same thing 3 times. Should we just get into it? Yes, Nathan. We're all really keen.
Earth myth, a historical misconception.
Why have I got no sound?
For centuries, The belief that the Earth is flat has
Video
been
has no
dismissed
sound.
as an outdated and unscientific idea. However, many people today are surprised to learn that the notion of a flat Earth was largely abandoned by educated individuals.
Right, it is so quiet that I've had to blast out and remove all compressors and remove all limiters and turn up the volume to 100%. Beyond, actually, but bloody hell. Very quiet.
Individuals long before the advent of modern science. The persistent myth that medieval Europeans believed in a flat Earth is itself a relatively modern invention, popularized by a combination of historical misunderstandings, ideological battles, and cultural misrepresentations.
This video made by AI. Shout out to OBE lines. Share button is only WY a video gets seen. Yeah, wait. Share button is the only way a video gets seen. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Thank you for the super chat. Nice that I can highlight it with somebody, paying to make that point. Thank you so much. Exactly. I might as well say it with the people that are watching. There's 79 people watching, and a minute ago it was 75. Why? Because someone's hit the share button. Not because it's been stuck into somebody's feed. My live streams barely go into my own subscribers' subscription feeds. So yeah, you're absolutely right, OBE lines.
We will explore the origins of the flat Earth myth.
The origins of the flat Earth myth are angle measurements to the stars. Just ask Thunderfoot.
Examine how and why it became associated with the Middle Ages.
Propaganda. It's not associated with Middle Ages, it's associated with measurements.
And discuss the resurgence of flat Earth beliefs in.
Yeah, that's the real problem here. That's what you're talking about. A stereotyping fallacy about what people in this arena believe in. And yeah, there's an afflicted number of us that don't know it's flat and measured flat and still believe it's flat anyway.
Contemporary society. Ancient beliefs about the shape of the Earth. Early conceptions of the Earth. The idea of a flat Earth is not unique to any one culture or time period.
Who cares? We measure Earth flat. That's how the concepts that you'll rely on for your belief, that's globe, come from. That's where they're all originating, in the measurements of a flat plane.
Many ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and early Greeks, held a flat Earth view. These early conceptions were largely based on everyday observations.
And the Egyptians.
After all, the ground beneath our feet.
Just have a quick look at this diagram that he's got up here. So we've got globe Earth, right? This is his belief. Nice and on display for us. And what is that belief? Well, it's that we've got high pressure gas forming clouds in Earth's atmosphere, sphere-shaped air, next to a 10 to the minus 17 tall black area, high vacuum, with the high pressure gas not filling the vacuum. Yeah, this is a straight up second law of thermodynamics violation that you believe in, but you got the nerve to go back through the historical documents and not look at the measurements. Where do you think this globe Earth belief came from? Well, I'll tell you where it came from. Flat Earth measurements, that's where. For you to have somebody bullshit you and claim that they're taking pictures from sky vacuums. Let whoever it is trying to get in. Hello, Refracted. Hello. You hear me? Refracted, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Been a rough morning. How y'all doing?
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, they just keep moving me between shifts, and it's my body's not holding up well.
I've moved the wrong thing around in my confusion. I'm not having a good day either. Let's just sort this out. I've got all my tabs all over the bleeding place. Now I've lost my hangout. Things aren't going well. Where's the hangout gone? There it is. Okay, right. Which tab do I need to put that on? That one. I think I've got that right now. There we go. No, I've still got it wrong. You'll have to bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm normally a bit more slick than this. There we go. Finally got it.
Appears flat. And in a world without global travel or satellite imagery, the idea of a flat Earth was a logical assumption. In Mesopotamian cosmology, for example, the Earth was often depicted as a flat disk floating on a primordial ocean.
Ugh, who cares? Measured flat, nothing else matters. All of the actual models and maps that are going to be used to navigate the ground that we're actually utilizing are flat and have come from flat Earth measurements. None of this is relevant. We're applying the wrong standard like it's a historic standard to how the Earth's measured. It isn't. Go ahead, John.
Is observation an assumption?
No.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just said that the assumption it's flat. No, you see it.
With a solid sky above. Similar ideas can be found in ancient Egyptian beliefs, where the Earth was envisioned as a flat plain supported by mountains, with the sky held up by a giant, godlike figure. Greek contributions to spherical.
Who cares? We're applying the wrong standard. It is not a historic standard when you come to Earth measurements.
Earth theory. However, as early
Not a theory either. Another category error. This isn't a scientific category. Oh my god.
as the 6th century BCE, Greek philosophers began to propose that the Earth might be spherical. Pythagoras, one of the first to suggest this idea, reasoned that the sphere was the most perfect shape and that celestial bodies, including the Earth, must therefore be spherical. His ideas were further developed by later Greek thinkers, most notably Aristotle and Eratosthenes.
Eratosthenes measured Earth flat also for his extrapolation of sphericity. So, again, if you actually look into these stories... Go on, someone from G Plus has got their mic open. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, all of those people also measured it flat, too.
Yeah, precisely. Shout out to Flat Earth Travolta for gifting memberships.
Aristotle, 384-322 BCE in particular, provided several arguments for a spherical Earth. He noted
A question of arguing for it. It's not a debate. Oh my god.
that during a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow on the moon is
Begging the question fallacy. Earth shadow? What? Does this look like a shadow? It looks red to me and I'm colourblind.
Also,
always
the
round.
idea that the angle of the Earth between the sun and moon would cast a shadow is from the celestial sphere model, measured from a flat plane.
Flat
So
Earth
that belief-
required.
Yes, requires a flat plane.
100 people watching. Woo! Massive shout out to all of you who shared the show. Very warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us.
which would only be possible if the Earth were spherical. Additionally,
Baseless assertion. No, the derivation of that sphere came from flat Earth measurements,
Aristotle observed that travelers moving southward would see
with directions referencing a flat plane.
stars that were not visible in the northern regions, suggesting that the Earth's surface curves as one.
Why? If I walk away from something and it disappears into the horizon, that in no way suggests sphericity to the surface. That's an assumption you're making. No, things don't disappear because you go over the curve of the Earth.
One moves away from the equator.
The equator is measured with flat Earth angles to Polaris, as are all latitudes. What are you talking about? Well, not all latitudes. Beyond the equator, they're not. I should really drop that in case someone pulls me on it.
Perhaps the most remarkable contribution came
These are flat Earth angle measurements. Here he is demonstrating how Earth's being measured flat with angles and inferred curved surfaces that won't give him measurements of angles. So you've included the bastardization of the flat Earth elevation angle measurement that Aristophanes is taking with the sun. This is an elevation angle. Curved surface won't give you this. That's why it's automatically been projected into hell. Bit like Thunderfoot had to do after he measured Earth flat for elevation angle measurements, just like Aristophanes does. Everyone measures Earth flat.
from Eratosthenes. 276 to 194 BCE, who not only supported the idea of a spherical Earth,
He measured it flat. He's measuring elevation angles. These people don't look into their own bleeding stories, do they?
but also calculated its circumference.
Calculated it after measuring it flat. Yeah, we know. We had a nice, eloquent demonstration of exactly that by Thunderfoot. Yeah, you can take elevation angle measurements of a flat Earth and then calculate into existence the sphere you think facilitates those measurements. No, you're wrong. Your globe only exists because we have flat Earth measurements.
With astonishing accuracy.
What, with the flat Earth measurements? Well, we can only praise flat Earth for those.
By measuring the angles of shadows cast
On a flat Earth. The angles of shadows like elevation angles. With the sun, you'll need a flat Earth for those angles, dum-dum.
at different locations, Eratosthenes
Why is it just me, or has he got an equatorial plane with an angle on it? Why would the angle be coming from the centre of hell? Notice a theme here, Glurfs. Your angles don't work on the surface and have to be projected into hell. On a plane, because that's how these angles work. This is your reality, a flat plane. This is a protractor, not a globe with stuff on it. Because otherwise you just measure it with respect to it. You don't. You transpose it into hell so it will work on a plane. Meanwhile, the angle he's measuring is off a flat Earth. That's where he's getting his shadow. See this angle measurement? That's not going to come from a curve. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the moment you transpose it into hell, it's no longer a measurement because you have no reference.
No, he's got his measurement up on a curve where it won't be an angle. You need a flat plane for the angle. It's an elevation angle. That's what the shadow is. A flat Earth measurement.
estimated the Earth's circumference to be about 40,000 kilometers.
Now, he extrapolated it out with the flat Earth measurement of an angle with respect to a plane of reference. That's how he did it. We are detailing this currently. You just take the end part and suggest that that has some inference of sphericity. No, you've only got the flat Earth angle measurements, the extrapolations, the calculations, the assumptions, the globe Earth failures, like when you take these flat Earth measurements and try and derive a sphere Earth radial value or circumferential value like Thunderfoot did. I mean, you can balls that up entirely. It makes no difference what you calculate after the fact. You measure Earth flat.
Remarkably close to the actual value.
So the actual value would be derived from this grid system that you've got wrapped around a sphere that comes from the flat Earth measurements of the angles in the first instance, for you to transpose them into the plane that you've even got detailed in your diagram. See this? This is a flat plane. See this transparent globe with angles coming through it? You're not standing on that if you're measuring from hell. Nice that you've included this. I'll take this one too. Let's get it nice and big so I can have a screenshot. Epic that you should include the plane of reference that we absolutely measure and require. Of course, to utilise that plane of reference, you're definitely not going to be utilising it in hell, or measuring it in hell, or getting measurements from curve angles.
The Middle Ages. Misconceptions
I wasn't on screen long
reality.
enough. I want to grab that
Medieval
as a screenshot.
understandings remarkably close to the actual value. The Middle Ages. Misconceptions and reality. Medieval understanding of the Earth's shape. Contrary to popular belief, educated people.
Notice there's a lot of mention. I keep hearing it more and more these days. How when Glurfs describe their religion, they're also, it would seem, indoctrinated into the automatic acceptance of it being a belief. Has anybody else noticed that recently? They're not hesitant to describe Glurfism as being a belief. You go back through the videos, it'll be littered and riddled with this word from globe Earth believers, because that's what they are, believers. But they're not under any misapprehensions about it in their linguistics. They seem to already know it's a belief, and they stack up their belief against what they think is our belief, and was until 2024 for the most part, for me at least. Until we started declaring the measurements in no uncertain terms, we had their belief, that's the point I'm making now, against their strawman belief they foist on us. But my question I'll ask again, just in case anybody's had time to think about it. Has anybody else been noticing more and more that the globe Earth believers are more than happy to declare the fact it is a belief in a globe? Anybody notice that?
I think it goes back to materialism and the belief that you can't prove anything. So everything is a belief to them.
Yeah, we just had a conversation about that in 24/7. This guy claiming that science doesn't prove anything technically.
I can't hear you right.
I can. You came through fine. He's saying he had a debate on, and it was in regards to the GLURF presumably claiming that science doesn't prove anything. Well, then what's the point of doing it, first and foremost? It does. That's all it does. It's the only way of empirically validating cause and effect reasoning based on natural phenomena. That's the purpose of it. It has an empirical outcome based on the hypothesis, because the hypothesis only gives you two outcomes. Either A causes B, or A does not cause B, and upon variation of A, it will either do one or the other, proving one or the other. That's the only outcome. So to suggest that science doesn't prove means he doesn't know what science is. That's all that means.
People in the Middle Ages did not generally believe that the Earth was flat. By the time of the Roman Empire, the idea of a spherical Earth was widely accepted among scholars.
Prove it. Yeah, based on what? Your primary source research that's evidenced as follows. My bad, of course, he's going to stack all the primary source evidence for this historic misstandardization of this category. No, historic standard, but is he providing good historic standards? He's gonna give us that now, isn't he?
Accepted.
He's giving us the primary sources for this crappy dispute.
This knowledge was
excuse me, he
preserved
showed a
in
picture of the Colosseum.
That's not a primary source to suggest that people in those particular times that the Colosseum is claimed to be built in all had a base understanding of a sphere Earth derived from flat Earth measurements. He's not giving us any primary sources, even in his category error of the historic standard, which this is not.
transmitted through the medieval period by Christian, Islamic, and Jewish scholars.
What you mean by that is, like all the other historic standards that you laid down, they reference flat Earth in them. Yeah, okay. That isn't the standard that we deal with, though. Go ahead.
Wait a second. He said it was accepted. I don't hear any proof. So because it's accepted, then it's a fact?
He hasn't standardized that with evidence, Neil.
One of the most influential medieval works on cosmology was the Etymologiae by...
I'm pretty sure if we had Adam here, he'd be going through that document and showing how it proved a flat Earth.
Isidore of Seville, c. 500 and 6636 CE. While Isidore's work contains a mixture...
Where in it did it say Earth's a sphere? Here's how. And it's proven by these measurements. What did he show us then? He didn't show us jack.
...of accurate information and outdated ideas.
This is pictures of men reading books.
He describes the Earth as being round.
He describes it that way, does he? I couldn't care less. How did he measure it? So far, we've got Aristophanes measuring flat Earth elevation angles. That's what you've given us so far in terms of measurement. I mean, your measurement failed immediately because it didn't have an angle for elevation off a curved surface, and it was transposed into hell, where you weren't measuring angles. So that was a complete fail for the globe. But at its heart, it had flat Earth measurements. That's the only thing we've got. Is this a measurement? This guy holding a staff and reading a bleeding book?
Using the term orbis terrarum.
Oh, is this a globe? Looks like four circles interlocked within another circle. How is this a globe?
Circle of lands.
Circles? They're not globes, then. Your historic standards, pathetic and woeful. And wrong. And not proving your point. Even by the suggestion that this is a standard that we can actually have as a historic standard incorrectly. It doesn't have a globe in this image.
To describe it. Similarly, the De Natura Rerum by the Venerable Bede, 672 735 CE, also affirms the Earth's sphericity.
With a picture of a circle. Did he? Where does it say that? Where does it show that? It does not. So he shows a picture of a circle and says that we're proving sphericity. No, this doesn't. This historic incorrect standard that we shouldn't be applying when we're talking about how Earth's measured.
Additionally,
Building your online business.
Wow. What happens when you have to boost the levels by a bazillion %?
Earth was depicted in medieval art and literature.
This is flat. This is north and south hemispheres. This is what you could sandwich antipodal from one another, presumably with a celestial sphere wrapped around it. This is not globe-shaped. This is two circles. Furthermore, we've got what presumably latitude lines marked on it. Those come from flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris. What's he doing?
Maps from this period,
A
known
flat.
as TO maps,
A flat. This is flat.
often depicted the Earth as a
Flat. This is not spherical.
circular disk.
So not spherical then. So the maps are flat. The methods for producing the maps are flat. The star navigation systems used with the maps that are flat is flat in terms of its angle measurement of the stars and the surface. So this is a massive fail.
Not because they reflected a belief in a flat Earth,
Oh, right. So you're going to mitigate for why they aren't spherical. I see. But that's not because they didn't think it was... Who gives a shit what you say?
but because they were symbolic representations
Oh, they were just symbolic. So they don't prove your point. They aren't sphere-shaped. They are flat, but they're just symbols. I see. How does that help you?
of the known world, with Jerusalem at the center.
Symbols of the known world. Yeah, with Jerusalem as the prime meridian. Yeah, we've seen all these. So what?
These maps were not intended
Another flat map? Latitude grid? So this is definitely derived from flat Earth measurements then?
to be accurate depictions of the Earth's physical form.
Measured with flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris to wrap around in circles of equal elevation on a flat map. Am I missing something here? When does he get to the globe? Is it just the men reading books in paintings who say they've already known for thousands of years, but he doesn't standardize that with any sort of historical data? No primary source evidence whatsoever.
But rather theological
Is another flat map. What's going on? Do they just keep throwing up flat maps and saying globe, globe, globe in their mind?
illustrations. The role of the Church. A common misconception is that the medieval Christian Church promoted the idea of a flat Earth.
The medieval Christian church, did he say?
In reality, most church
Yeah.
scholars accepted the Earth's sphericity.
Did they? No, they developed it about 500 years ago. You detailed the flat Earth elevation angle measurements that they used to derive orbital motion. Kepler, Huygens, Copernicus, they're all using the same ephemeris. They're all using flat Earth angles to the stars to create these models to better predict when Easter will be.
The works of ancient
Is it just by you saying it that they accepted sphere? I can give details of how they derived orbital motion from flat Earth measurements. You just say, the church all knew it was a sphere. Moving on with another painting of men.
ancient Greek philosophers, including Aristotle, were incorporated into Christian thought, particularly through the writings of Thomas Aquinas, 1225-1274, who sought to harmonize Christian doctrine with Aristotelian philosophy.
What's that got to do with anything?
The notion that the Church suppressed spherical Earth theory
They created it.
likely stems from later conflicts between science and religion.
It's got complete category error. It's got nothing to do with religion or science. They're trying to predict when a certain alignment of stars will be in the sky. That's what they're actually doing. You're making this stuff up, mate. Sounds like a CGI, AI, whatever generated video anyway. It's probably why it's got no views. You have to now affirm that you're not an AI bot making these videos. And if you tick, yeah, it is made by AI. They just don't promote it.
particularly during the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods.
All flat. Haven't had a single globe up so far.
These conflicts
Oh,
were
there we go.
often
Right on cue. In a painting. Got a picture of a globe in a painting. Oh, it's a shame there's not enough detail to see the latitude lines that would have to have been measured flat to produce that globe.
proactively applied to the Middle Ages, creating the false impression that medieval society was dominated by flat Earth beliefs.
But you're telling us that the historical standards are conflicting. One is saying that they're all flat earthers, and the other is saying that they've been church-led globers forever. I mean, it'd be nice if you standardise any of this. I'm not just going to take it in my favour because it is. Okay, so you're saying there's conflicting evidence that say everyone's a flat earther. All right, okay. Well, you better standardise that with some primary source evidence too.
The modern invention of the flat Earth myth, Washington Irving and the legend of Columbus. The flat Earth myth, as it relates to medieval Europe, gained significant traction in the 19th century.
It doesn't matter. None of this matters. This is all irrelevant. It doesn't matter what people believed or what they thought 1,000 years ago or 50 years ago, even yesterday. What is the question we are asking ourselves, and how will we prove it?
Yeah, but if you could poison a well and call it a flat Earth myth, then it's a win for them.
One of the key figures in popularizing this misconception was the American writer Washington Irving. In his 1828 biography, A History of the Life and Voyages of Christopher Columbus,
The voyages of Christopher Columbus would have been utilising celestial navigation and a flat plane to do it, with circles of equal elevation, angles off a flat plane. That's how the navigation was done, as we expanded out the known territories. Flat. As we found new worlds. Flat. As we made our way back from the new worlds home with those expanded territories on flat maps that were expanded with flat Earth elevation angles to stars. That's how the world was increased in its area. That's how the new worlds were discovered, and that discovery required we navigated and mapped the world flat. That's how it was done. Let's see what he talks about.
Irving portrayed Columbus as a lone visionary struggling against the dogmatic belief of a flat Earth.
That he utilised with elevation angles to the stars so he didn't get lost and could find his way home. No, he was definitely utilising a flat Earth. It wasn't anything to do with his beliefs, as you have a picture of him holding a bleeding globe.
Held by the church and his contemporaries.
Sorry, according to you a minute ago, the church was all globy. But now he's, what, flat earthy and the church... This is confusing.
According to Irving's narrative, Columbus's voyage was nearly halted by superstitious and fearful advisors who believed he would sail off the edge of the world.
I wonder why they would think that ludicrous assertion that doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, we are actually discovering new worlds and expanding out the territories with elevation angles to the stars that created the maps that we could expand out. So what, somebody thought he might fall off the edge and express their concerns about it? Well, you can commit them and put them in an asylum because they're idiots.
This dramatic story was compelling, but it was entirely fictional. In reality, the educated Europeans of Columbus's time knew the Earth was a sphere. The debate was
because they mapped and navigated it flat with the stars and the angles with respect to the plane of reference that they were utilising and the circles of equal elevation they drew on the flat maps when they needed to find their position. Now, I'm pretty sure they were definitely utilising it and navigating it flat. You just saying that they knew means nothing.
not about the Earth's shape, but rather about the size of the Earth.
This looks like a second law of thermodynamics violation. Check it out. This little hazy area could be considered the atmosphere sphere-shaped air that we all breathe. And what's this bit? 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum? I'm pretty sure all of this gas would immediately fill this space and we'd all be dead. This is fake. There is no high-pressure gas next to a vacuum called outer space, a sky vacuum. There is no sky vacuum. We'd all be dead. In order to have a high-pressure gas, you need containment for the gas to press upon. That's how gas pressure is achieved. It certainly isn't achieved by having a ball in a sky vacuum with just arbitrary sphere-shaped air not abiding by the second law of thermodynamics. Yeah, this is all garbage. This is your belief, and it violates the second law. So therefore, it's not real. Space is fake. There is no globe Earth with high-pressure gas not filling vacuums.
And the feasibility of reaching Asia by
What about the space that the gas would be filling? What about reaching that?
sailing westward. Irving's romanticized account of Columbus
Westward, what, like a flat Earth direction?
was widely read and had a profound influence on the popular imagination. It helped cement the idea that the medieval period was a time of ignorance and superstition, a dark age where flat Earth beliefs were widespread.
No, it's irrelevant. It's how Earth's being measured and mapped at the time that's relevant. Flat is the answer.
The role of 19th century historians. The flat Earth myth was further propagated by 19th century historians such as John William Draper and Andrew Dixon White, who were eager to portray the history of science as a struggle between progressive scientific thinkers and a regressive dogmatic church.
The church are extrapolating out their orbital motions with Kepler, and in later history, we're being told that that's the world we stand upon. But those extrapolations that create a globe to put in motion with Keplerian orbital motion were derived with flat Earth genesis measurements of angles to stars. This is all garbage. I'll keep repeating the same thing over and over again when he asserts it by pure fiat. Oh, well, they just knew.
Draper's History of the Conflict Between Religion and Science, 18...
There's no conflict. It's category error. How Earth is measured isn't religion or science or history.
1974, and White's A History of the Warfare of Science with the...
Wow, what a cluster screw of errors. The history of the warfare of science. History, warfare, and science are all three separate categories. Science establishes cause for natural phenomena. History speaks for itself. It has a standard of primary source evidence. And warfare, yeah, that's something entirely different altogether again, isn't it, really? But you've got these things slammed together like they have some relevance to your argument. We're dealing with how Earth is measured. And I can take a number of the characters in this story that you're peddling and point out how they must use Earth flat.
Theology and Christendom, 1896, both depicted the Middle Ages as a period dominated by irrational beliefs, including the flat Earth theory. Draper and...
Is it just me, or is he still in these contradictions where he's got two simultaneous narratives? One where historically everyone thinks it's flat, and one historically where everyone thinks it's a globe. What's going on? Yeah, that's what happens when you screw with history.
White's works were influential in
also, I'll just reiterate, this isn't a historic standard that's applied to measurements of Earth.
Shaping the narrative of a warfare between science and religion, a narrative that has since been challenged by more recent historians. Nevertheless, their portrayal of the...
Nevertheless, we've got historians challenging science, which this isn't. This is a mess. This is a real mess.
Middle Ages as a time of flat Earth belief became deep...
I don't know about flat Earth belief. The propaganda that's put into the media that you're confusing with all these different assertions of beliefs that are tallying alongside other beliefs that apparently are the most prevalent isn't in any way a historic standard. It's a measurement standard. So what they believed about the Earth and falling off the edge of it is irrelevant. They're navigating around on it flat. That's all that's relevant.
Deeply ingrained in popular culture and education. The persistence of the flat Earth myth in modern times. The rise of the Flat Earth Society. While the Flat Earth myth was largely debunked by the early 20th century,
He's got Mark in there. Go, Mark!
Experienced a curious resurgence in the mid-20th century with the formation of the Flat Earth Society.
No, they're the propaganda wing. They're the ones putting all the garbage out that you seem to reference without any primary sources. That's where this all comes from. They're peddling nonsense about Einsteinian pizza pies in sky vacuums rising up. That's the garbage you get from the Flat Earth Society. We talk about how Earth is measured.
Founded by Samuel Shenton in...
Go ahead.
something to be debunked. You explain how it's debunked. You don't say only it's debunked. You know, you can say for everything this is debunked and how it's debunked.
Yeah, what you're saying is it's riddled with baseless assertion fallacies. Yes.
Yeah. And speaking about meat, like a flat Earth meat or whatever, flat Earth theory. But what is that? What is that theory? Can you explain us what they was thinking about that? What is inside of that people who wrote the books in 200 years ago about flat Earth? Is it that about that we follow off the edge, or it's only that sentence, or there is more? You know, there is a book about the flat Earth, and he said there people will fall over the edge. You know, that's the whole book. You know,
He's not standard. He's
about
not giving
flat
the
Earth.
standards on either side, so he's not giving his globe Earth standard by baseless assertion. But when he starts straw manning us, he doesn't give a standard for that either.
1956, the Society argued against the overwhelming scientific evidence for
Category error.
a spherical Earth.
Spheres, that's shape. It's not science. Science is natural phenomena and the cause thereof through systematic experimentation based on hypothesis.
Promoting the idea that the Earth is flat and that global institutions
Caught it that time, so no one gets blasted out by the advert.
were
Just as a
perpetuating a
question.
round
Yeah,
Earth
go ahead.
conspiracy.
If you see a ball, do you try to give an argument that it's a ball? Or
No.
do you just describe it?
I wouldn't even do. You don't even need to. If you've got a ball, it's a ball. No words needed. Or we could argue and debate about it and perhaps look at the historic standard. Maybe we could compare the warfare of balls.
Shenton's Flat Earth Society attracted a small but dedicated following,
Of people talking about globes. By the looks of things.
and although it was often dismissed as a fringe group,
Who cares what the group that's propagandizing Flat Earth does? It's measured flat.
it managed to keep the Flat Earth idea in the public consciousness.
Why are you bundling Mark Sargent in with this?
The society gained new life in the internet age, where misinformation can spread quickly
Actually, I should take that back. He is actually a card-carrying member of the Flat Earth Society through pure irony.
and widely. Flat Earth beliefs in the digital age. In the 21st
Why is this appeal to modern technology fallacy? So because we're in the modern age with computers, we shouldn't have flat Earth beliefs. Non sequitur fallacy and a category error. They're not beliefs. It's measurements.
century, Flat Earth beliefs have found a new platform on social media, where they have been amplified by conspiracy theories.
Poison in the well fallacy. It's got a guy in a tinfoil hat with, what, aliens behind him? Is that a flat earther? Believing in space and sky vacuums for aliens to come from? No, definitely a misrepresentation. You just wanted a guy with a tinfoil hat, right? This is what you found? Well, the tinfoil hat that you've represented as the flat earthers got planets and spacemen! This is a glober!
And online communities. Flat Earth videos on platforms like YouTube have garnered millions of views.
Have they? So Professor Dave Explains and Simon Dan are the ones that get millions of views, not us. Yeah, I'm lucky to get the audience that I do get, which is only attributable to the people who share my show. Absolutely nothing to do with YouTube. They've been told by Congress to suppress us. You're saying that Flat Earth videos get millions of views. No, anti-Flat Earth videos get millions of views because they're promoted. The one detractor video that anybody puts out will immediately garnish a shed ton of video views because it's detracting against what we describe in suppression, which is the measurements of Earth, which are flat. But you're not going to find that easily on YouTube. Far from it. You'll find Simon Dan and Professor Dave.
And online forums dedicated to Flat Earth discussions have attracted thousands of members.
Well, they're all idiots. No offence if you're in one of those forums. There is no discussion here. Flat Earth measurements don't need debate or discussion. Slap them down on the table and go, there you go.
This resurgence can be seen as part of a broader trend of skepticism towards scientific consensus.
Sorry, scientific consensus. There is no such beast. Science is a method. It establishes the cause of naturally occurring phenomena through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis. The empirical outcome that it offers has advanced humanity. It has nothing to do with consensus. If it's consensus, it's not science.
And authoritative knowledge. Flat Earth believers often claim that evidence of a spherical Earth, including photographs from space and
Photographs from space, which this definitely isn't. So we got 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum, and the high pressure gas we're breathing, and it's not filling the vacuum, like in line with entropy, like high pressure to low pressure, gas filling space, second law. It's not doing that. That's because this isn't a photograph, this isn't from space, this is fake CGI, and the claim of it being real violates a law of nature. Gas fills space. This is your belief. Furthermore, any maps or models that are claimed to be globe-shaped will have the latitude and longitude grid plastered all over them, requiring flat Earth measurements if you're going to infer any validity to your globe belief.
satellite data is fabricated by a global conspiracy in
No, I didn't say that. I said that you've got flat Earth elevation angle measurements wrapped around your globe model. If you try and infer that you've even got one.
involving governments, scientists,
No, definitely not. You're in a category error. Shout out to Duncan MacLeod. Literally every word he said has been wrong. Absolutely. 115 people watching. I'm glad you appreciate it, Duncan. Thank you for the super chat.
It sounds like he's expressing his fear of what must be true if it is flat.
and the
What
media.
he-
The modern flat Earth movement has been fueled by a combination of distrust and
Is this the sky vacuum where the satellites you were just appealing to are? This is the 10 to the minus 17 torr area of volume that the gas here would be filling if it was real. Now, you see, if this area, as claimed by NASA and astronauts, is the area that they travel through to get to the moon, for example, then this high-pressure gas would fill this area. High pressure goes to low pressure. It's a law of nature. So if this was 10 to the minus 17 torr, as claimed in your sphere Earth belief, then the gas would fill the space. Furthermore, we'd never have developed gas pressure in the first place because it would have nothing to press on. It's all garbage. It's all lies. There is no sky vacuum. Your globe Earth in a sky vacuum is merely a derivation of a church extrapolation of flat Earth angle measurements to the stars, used and put into a model to better predict when those stars will line in positions throughout the year. That's all it is. Flat Earth measurements to create your bull belief, which violates natural law.
institutions, the allure of conspiracy theories, and the echo chamber effect of social media. Despite the overwhelming scientific evidence to the contrary,
We ask for it daily. It's a category error. We ask people for their scientific evidence to the ball, and earlier on in this very show, I can't remember who to credit it. I can't remember who it was to credit it to, but someone was pointing out that by asking for any scientific evidence, we're inducing the category error. And why would we be doing that? Well, here's the answer. Because here's the assertion that there is scientific evidence for their globe Earth belief based on flat Earth measurements. No, it's not science. No, you don't have any scientific evidence, but here you are suggesting that you have.
flat Earth beliefs persist as a form of countercultural expression.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you've got some idiots out there that believe in a flat Earth when we can tell them how it's measured that way. It's not necessary to have a belief in a flat Earth when you know how it's measured, though.
And a challenge to mainstream narratives.
No, the mainstream also use flat Earth measurements to create the globe that you think you believe in. They're a fundamental basis for your globe belief. Without flat Earth measurements, you wouldn't have a globe belief.
Conclusion: debunking the myth.
What are these lines wrapped around the globe? Are they latitude lines? Oh, they are, aren't they? Oh, you'll get those from a flat Earth to wrap around this globe that you believe in. What a clown. Know your measurements. It's not historic. It's not wartime.
Myth. The idea that medieval Europeans believed in a flat Earth is a myth.
That you suggested they had and also apologised for why they had it when they shouldn't. You're back to your two contradictory narratives about all believers in a flat Earth forever and all believers in a globe forever.
one that was largely created in the 19th century and has been perpetuated by popular culture.
So what, up until the 19th century, all people believed in a flat Earth, or up until the 19th century, all people believed in a globe? No, I'm pretty sure it was just measured flat the whole time. And we can show how the globe belief that you hold came from those measurements. I mean, all this other historic garbage is irrelevant.
In reality,
there's a 10 to the minus 17 Tor sky vacuum right next to high pressure gas in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. No, this is not reality. As much as you'd like to put this on screen and believe that there's men floating around in areas that gas could be filling, but isn't. That's all it is, a belief that you hold.
The concept of a spherical Earth has been widely accepted by...
The concept of a spherical Earth? No, the concept of a spherical Earth was derived by the church to better predict when Easter would be.
Educated people since antiquity, and the Middle Ages were no exception.
So not the 19th century then?
The persistence of the flat Earth myth serves as a
It just seems like he's asked AI to explain how flat Earth and globe Earth clashed throughout the ages, and this is the spew that ChatGPT gave him, and he's just turned it into a script. And it makes no sense and contradicts itself left and right, and has no actual historical standards proving what it's claiming. It's all baseless assertions, and pictures of men holding sticks and reading books.
Reminder of how historical misconceptions can take on a life of their own, shaping our understanding of the past in ways that are not always accurate.
Yeah, I agree. So why would you then go forth and use a historic standard to prove your point then? What a clown.
It also highlights the importance of critical thinking and the...
Not really. Measurements has nothing to do with critical thinking. They're measurements.
Need to question the sources and motivate...
No, when you're measuring things... I mean, I could go and question Thunderfoot's ineptitude when it comes to taking angle measurements with boards and laser pens and Crayola when we've got sextants that do that job. But, you know, the idiocy of glyphs is beyond our understanding sometimes. I mean, we can't, explain stupid.
Motivations behind the stories we are told. In the end, the flat Earth myth tells us more about the times in which it was popularized than about the actual beliefs of medieval people.
I mean, we could ponder the beliefs of these people when we know they're measuring Earth flat. It's irrelevant, though.
It reflects the 19th century desire to portray the Middle Ages as a dark and ignorant period, contrasting sharply with the perceived enlightenment of modernity.
Who cares?
As we continue to explore and reinterpret history, it is crucial to separate fact from fiction.
Reinterpret history? Is that what we do? So we can reinterpret this then? I mean, I don't need to reinterpret your historical standards you didn't lay down when you've got a picture of a globe Earth next to a sky vacuum with gas not dispersing into it. That just debunks your religion that was based on flat Earth measurements to begin with.
Fiction, and to recognize that even the most widely accepted historical narratives may not always be true.
Yeah, like the globe. That's the end. Hey, Brian.
Was that a confession at the end?
Yes. Basically, yes.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everyone.
Hey, good to have you. Timing's perfect. So your timing's perfect.
How come?
With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to everyone who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and Jeepers panels. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.